have some members of the band coalition. We have Art Centeno, who's standing against the wall there. We also have Memo Rodriguez. We have Lorraine Ashby and Rick McGraw is walking around. So we have quite a few people here who've been working with us on the Petcoke issue. How many of you are familiar with the Petcoke issue? Quite a few of you. That's good to see. Do you understand what Petcoke is and where it comes from? Everyone seems to know that it's a byproduct of the refining industry, and of course we know that BP AMCO is just across the border in Whiting, Indiana, and so we tend to get all of that Petcoke shipped here to Chicago, and it is being stored on the southeast side of Chicago, and it is impacting our community and not Whiting, Indiana. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, of course.
I'm going to give you a real quick update. You're familiar with KCBX as being the company that handles the Petcoke. And currently, as you know, the city has passed regulations that are supposed to regulate the Petcoke so that it won't impact our community, so that our community can be a healthier community and a cleaner community. But let me tell you that KCBX has already requested exemptions to those regulations. Now, I don't know if any of you got the KCBX Good Neighbor letters in the mail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Propaganda.
And they talked about what they were, that they were working to be good neighbors and so forth and so on. But I think the proof is in the pudding. They have asked for exemptions to the existing regulations. Some of the things they have asked for is that the city requires them to enclose their piles of Petcoke within 2 years. They want it to be 4 years. Okay, now there's no real good reason I can think of why it should be 4 years. I didn't like the 2 years. Okay, they also are asking for taller piles. So while they're operating and that Petcoke is out in the open, they're not happy to have 25 feet tall piles. They want 35-foot piles. They want them to be higher. And the reason for limiting the height is to limit, first of all, the amount of Petcoke that comes through our communities, but also wind has a bearing on the height of the piles. The higher the piles, the more inclined the dust is to blow off of them. So they want higher piles. So already they're asking for things that are not going to be helpful for our community. This is why, if you recall, the community really wanted the product out of here. We did not want it in our community.
Send it to Whiting.
There's not enough room. But the point is, we did not want it here. The community said from day one that that kind of industry does not belong in the backyards of communities. Those days are over. Okay? Southeast side of Chicago was looking to a brighter future, and we keep getting dumped on. So I really am glad to see that you're out here. It's important that we continue to work together because we aren't going to give up. We do not want this product in our backyards. If it has to be here, it better follow the regulations, because guess what else has happened since KCBX has requested a variance to the regulations? There's a bunch of companies jumping on board. All the companies along the river are jumping on board. They want variances. KCBX has threatened to sue the city of Chicago if they don't get their variances. Is that being a good neighbor? You judge. Okay, we are going to continue. While we're here, we have representatives from the IEPA. Would you please stand up and just introduce yourselves?
I'm Brad Frost. I'm the acting manager of our Office of Community Relations at the Illinois EPA.
And my name is Chris Presnall. I'm an attorney with the Illinois EPA that's working on the enforcement action for KCBX.
And my name is Ken Page. I'm the Environmental Justice Officer with Illinois EPA.
We also have some representatives in the back. If they would please just stand up quickly, and they're from the EPA. And we also have some people from the Attorney General's office here today with us. Would you please just stand up and introduce yourselves? Okay, now, these people are here with us today because they wanted to come and see and hear the complaints and concerns of the residents. Remember, they're working with us on the issues of the Petcoke. So they're here to listen and hear complaints and concerns, not so much to defend anything or discuss anything. They're more or less hearing and observing for today. So keep that in mind, but I'm sure if they can answer some questions, they will, okay? I also want to let you know that we invited North Fork Southern, and we also invited Indiana Belt Railroad, and none of them could make it. But that speaks for itself. Okay? Keep that in mind, that speaks for itself. Alderman Pope was also invited, and he informed me today that he was going to run late. But he will be here, at least he promised. And when he comes, we're going to ask him about North Fork Southern and the Indiana Belt Railroad. And we're going to ask him to host a second meeting and have him invite them. Because when I asked him to help us with this meeting, he said, it's your meeting. So keep that in mind, okay? Keep all of that in mind. We're going to talk about, I think it's time for people to talk about their concerns for dust that leaves the premises. And apparently between February and May, dust has been leaving the premises. So in spite of their claim that their dust suppression system, which consists of giant water cannons, it sprays water on the piles. Again, it's proof that that doesn't work. Okay. The community said from day one, once again, that it wasn't going to work. We have experience with KCBX when it was located at the north end. Are you familiar with the fact that KCBX originally had a location on the north end at 100th Street, and they have now moved their operations to the south end, which is closer to 108. From our experience with KCBX at the north end and their water cannons, it did not work. We were getting coal dust at the time and petcoke dust. So once again, what they have working doesn't work. What they have put in place as a dust suppression system does not work. Okay? I'm going to show you something, and this is why we don't want to give up. I have two filters, furnace filters, from two different households in the Wolf Park area. Are you familiar with the Wolf Park area? That's the area around 108th and Buffalo and Mackinac and through there. And these two furnace filters were collected at two different times from two different premises. And we're going to continue to collect and monitor people's furnace filters, but I'm going to show you what they look like. We're going to pass them around, but we don't want you to touch them. Just so you can see.
So these are our filters.
Right.
You can,
The furnace that Memo is holding up is from December of last year. A resident brought it into us and complained that her furnace filters were looking like that. And because we had brought the Petcoke issue to the forefront, she was wondering if there was a correlation, which we suspect there is. This one, we were out there just the other day. Okay, this is from 615 from a different household, and this is what their filter looks like. Do any of you have furnace filters that look like this? No. Yes. And you live where? Okay, you have two that look like 132nd and M.
They're running clean now, but that was what's in the hammer, like for sure. January, February, March.
And did they look like that ever before? Okay, so if you, did you, I'm sure you didn't save it, but, oh, you did, would you bring it to our office because we wanted to start collecting them. And we want to look at them and maybe we can hustle and look into them and see what is this stuff. Because this is, well, I really don't want to touch it, but it's just really, yes. And cookie and gummy and everything else, exactly. So. It's even hard to wipe off the filter now. I don't know. In any case, we're going to start by asking, first of all, we know that the reason we're here is because of the increase in rail traffic. And we were hoping to get some answers. How many of you have been stopped by trains for over an hour? Right.
The other day was an hour and 45 minutes that I saw in front of my house. An hour and 45 minutes.
Okay, was it one train or was it
There were
multiple?
several trains. But it's ridiculous.
Well, they move.
I can get away from it because I can get south of there. What about the poor people that live in Hegewisch? I'm trying to get home from work. For God's
Okay.
sake.
Yeah, fire.
What about ambulances?
That's our concern. We haven't been told that there's been any type of plan put in place for emergency vehicles because we have seen these trains and they seem to be 100 cars long. Okay? And our concern is that it's not just the Petcoke, which is a byproduct of the refining business, but it's also asphalt, which is also a product of the refining business, and again, it's put here on the south side of Chicago. So why wasn't there consideration given to the people who live here? Why wasn't scheduling done in such a way as so that we would not experience this frustration and stress and time, waste of time? We have to waste our time sitting on the road waiting for these trains to pass. And this impacts even beyond our community because if you're on the number 30 bus, those buses are held up and they have to travel. I mean, the number 30 goes all the way to 69th Street. Those people waiting don't know why their bus isn't coming. So this is an issue we're really concerned about, and people, again, it impacts people even beyond our community. Yes?
I have a question. When they stop and they don't move,
Yeah, for a while.
what in God's name are they doing?
Yeah.
They
why
don't
is that?
move. We sat last Saturday for 1 hour. We were hemmed in.
Which railroad are you talking about, right out here?
On Brainerd Avenue, we're on
They're
tracks.
notorious for
We
that.
sat there from 10 after 10 till 20 after 11. The train never moved. What are they doing in the train? Did the guy drop dead of a heart attack? Are they having dinner? What are they doing? What's the reason for the stoppage when those trains are that long?
Just so we know, we're talking about the one right back behind there?
Yes, sir.
Or not the one on,
Not the east side.
The trains, the Brainerd trains, the ones on Brainerd,
Yes.
those, that's a switching area.
But they don't
So the
switch.
train has to go one way, the track switches back
But it
that
does
way.
not move.
But to answer your question, here in the city, you can't call and put a complaint. You actually, the police will respond.
Doesn't do anything.
I understand that. I understand that. I understand that. If everybody signed in the sign-in sheet over there and put your addresses down, we're gonna go door to door, we're gonna give you information to put your complaint into the Illinois Commerce Commission, and they actually police the railroad. So the idea is, I'll be with you in a second. So the idea is that we wanna find out, first of all, what are they transporting on this rail?
Yeah.
What it is, how long these train cars are. How come they just put new rails in, the community knew nothing about, and we still don't have the answers? How come we don't have safety gates? What's the noise ordinance? There are a lot of questions to be answered. We're seeking the answers just like you guys are. Go ahead, sir.
I'll give you the answer for what happened the other day when it was over
over an hour that that train was blocking Vernon Pike. I called up the railroad police over in East Chicago. They checked into it, and the reason that train was sitting there was because it was waiting on another train in Hammond that was blocking their way. They couldn't brake, they couldn't back up, they couldn't brake the train for over an hour. For over an hour, that's what happened.
Let's just calm down for a minute. Understand, we just need you to calm down for a minute. Understand, we understand your concerns. We understand how upset you are. We really do. We've been dealing with this since last year.
This has been going on.
No. Okay, what